All right, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today is just a quick little video because I'm just finding this absolutely fascinating and amazing. As you can see by the title, Red has officially dropped the price of the OG Komodo to $3,000. This is massive. This is huge, especially if you've ever just been wondering about picking up a Komodo. To give you context for myself, I've been a Komodo user for the past, 2 years? Yeah, since 2023, October 3rd, 2023. I'm actually looking at my order date right now. Have my Komodo OG right here. And I've always just wanted a Red camera throughout the entirety of just my filmmaking career. When I started all the way back in 2011, I forget the name of the Red. It was the Red. It was probably the Red Epic Dragon or something before that. I can't remember. There's a bunch of different names right now. That's not the point though. But if you just know the Red ecosystem, you know that it's a very expensive system to try and invest in. But Red is been known notoriously over the years to just have pretty massive depreciation of their camera specifically. All cameras depreciate, but the way Red cameras have depreciated over the years has been pretty significant. I have a very good friend, his name is Wade, who's been a Red owner and just operator for a very long time. And we were actually discussing back when Red initially did the price drop late last year on the Komodo and the Komodo 6K. And he was just saying how he was switching away from that ecosystem just because all the depreciation just wasn't worth it. It was literally just such a large, double digit, 1,000, 50,000 or more investment into an ecosystem like this. And then just to see that depreciation just not worth it. And he switched over to Canon, the C80 system and, everything they have going on now. And I don't blame him. I totally see and understand that. For me, when I purchased my Komodo, I purchased it used from Lens Rentals, and I literally have the receipt right here, paying $4,696. So when that initial price drop happened, it wasn't too much of a detriment to me, or I guess it didn't feel like it yet. But with this new one, it definitely I feel that hit a little bit. For me, I'm used to investing in Leica cameras and whatnot, so I'm pretty used to those cameras just sustaining their price and that depreciation not being so massive. But as I lean more back into just the cinema space, which is my roots and everything, I'm feeling the effects of these depreciations. But now, honestly, just is the time. If you've ever been curious and you have the funds and want to invest in Red, I think now is honestly the best time. Now, there is a way that I think people should go about it because there's a lot that I have learned becoming a Red user these past 2 years that I would recommend people do. I honestly don't recommend people buy their cameras new. So if you can find a Komodo OG used, they should be even lower now in price. I was actually considering selling mine just for various reasons, which I'll get into in a minute. But if you are and you want to save a little extra more money, I'd definitely go used. There's nothing wrong with buying these cameras used. When I bought mine used, it had 1,000 operating hours on it, or 900 something. Yeah, it was 900 something. And I've talked to just local people I know that are heavy Red users, own multiple Komodos, still buy them to this day, and they've bought them over when they were over 1,000 hours, and the cameras still run fine. So don't worry about that. The main things I would say if you're going to invest in the Red ecosystem is to invest in their proprietary battery system. So don't buy the third party Canon BP batteries. Buy the Red ones, because if you don't, you'll get a signal on here that says you're using an unapproved battery. And actually, as of late, with the new firmware that I have on here, the camera actually shuts down when I'm using that third-party battery. So 100% don't recommend that. And a couple months ago, actually, I had an issue with this camera where the timecode port broke. Essentially, something just happened to it. It just wasn't receiving input or signal. I had to send it in to Red to get fixed, and the price to literally get it fixed is pretty much the price of a brand new Red Komodo now, which is just kind of annoying, but also funny to me. But whilst they were diagnosing that, they were like, hey, because you're using unapproved batteries, something's wrong with like the power and the motherboard issue or whatever of the camera. And that was just giving me a lot of issues. And it's something I honestly just didn't pay for to get fixed, because I was just like, I'm not going to invest that much money to like fully fix this camera, especially at this point now where I can just buy a brand new one without those issues. So definitely invest in proprietary, or just use the correct BPU they have on their site. The recommended, like, not BPU, V-mount attachments that you can use. I'm currently using the Anton Bauer wooden camera attachment, and it's done wonders. It's worked great for me. The only other accessory that I've bought for this camera is this side handle, and again, I purchased this one from Lens Rentals again, just used. I buy all my accessory used. It's been great because I wanted to have an extra record button. I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but I want to have an extra record button opposed to just the single one on the side there. So this was 100% worth it. I do want their monitor, but honestly, it's very expensive, and even the small HD ones are pretty expensive as well. So if you want to go that route, you know, you can purchase that. I do recommend those, even though I've never used it, but I'm currently using the Hollyland monitor, and this is great. Color's great. Everything looks great. It's just when you're using these monitors, you have to unfortunately sacrifice the SDI port opposed to being able to leave that port free if you're using Red's proprietary monitors and whatnot. In terms of everything else, I'm just using third-party accessories for this camera. I'm using the Condor Blue side plate on the left side of the camera here, and then on the right side, I actually have the Med 49 accessory kind of plate and everything on the right side of the camera here. So that's doing pretty well. And then outside of that, I'm just using generic small rig top handles, and then I have the Canon speed booster adapter on here, so I can put like EF mount lenses onto this camera. For the most part, everything has just worked pretty great for me, outside of just me having that really random and rare timecode port issue, which was extremely expensive to fix. Other areas that I would recommend people invest in with this camera if you're going to switch to this is storage. Storage in terms of space for CFast cards. I'm using a Pro grade. This is a 640 gigabyte card, and for the most part, this does really well. It gets me pretty much through a whole day. I also have a 256 gig SanDisk one as well. These cards are pretty pricey and expensive, and you know, if you're gonna shoot a lot, I definitely recommend investing in these or whatever your favorite brand is. I do need to get more. It's just, again, they're so expensive. And then the other area that I would suggest investing in is actual SSD storage, because when you're shooting Red RAW, when you're shooting in all these codecs, you're gonna end up using a lot of space. That's with most RAW workflows, but working with Red RAW has been absolutely amazing. Again, I've been working with it for quite a long time here, so I'm used to that workflow. But again, just being able to just have that good amount of storage on the back end for your post-production workflow is pretty vital and essential in my opinion. And then lastly, real quick, I just want to talk about my thoughts on this price drop and, you know, what I think of just like the future of Red. Now, we all know by now that Nikon acquired them. They just released the Z mount version of the Komodo X. I think I'm getting that right, which is really nice. I'm not at the moment going to go down that route. Hopefully in the future I might do something like that, but for the most part I'm just gonna use this Komodo OG until it dies, and then hopefully switch to the Komodo X at some point in the future if I'm feeling it. But I think they're doing this obviously to compete with the other camera brands out there. The main one being the Blackmagic Pixis 6K. This is now literally the same exact price as, you guys can see it, but my Pixis 6K over here, which is my honestly like new favorite camera. That's why I was like considering selling my Komodo. It's because I'm just like enjoying using this so much. But obviously, you know, different to get global shutter, all that jazz with this camera. So they need to do this to compete, because there's Blackmagic. We know they're going to release a Pixis 6K Pro or something within the next year, maybe even the next few weeks with NAB coming up. And that's going to just have an enhanced features, maybe a new sensor that has better rolling shutter readout and stuff like that. And then who knows, with whatever Sony or Canon or whoever else is out there is coming with next, Lumix. And you know, with all these cameras just being so great and so accessible these days, with those original prices, it was like, what was Red to do? Like, people were just like, why would I invest so much money when I can just take that money and invest it into a cheaper camera, better lighting, put that into crew, put that into other areas of the budget of my production so I can have a really high quality product, and then just not have to worry about their cameras, or just rent or Red if you really need it that bad. So I think this is really good on them. It's really smart on them, really strategic on them. For the most part, I guess they're just probably phasing these cameras out, just getting them out of like their stock and whatnot, which is another, I guess, justification for that price drop. Because when I look on B&H, the item is like non-returnable if you buy it from there. But for the most part, I really hope they drop the Komodo X as well to, you know, another $1,000 or something. That would be great. That would be amazing. But as of late, like, if you invest in this camera, if you guys choose to invest in this camera, I'm telling you, it's not a waste of money, even though just know that, you know, it depreciates instantaneously. You're going to essentially own and use this camera until it explodes or dies or falls apart on you. But it's a solid camera. You're getting a very solid, clean, usable image. You're going to be able to make images that last for years and years to come on these cameras, and they're absolutely brilliant. As of late too, Red has also been pushing some firmware updates for the Komodo X and the OG Komodo, which is really nice. So I've been like messing with those, just a few UI features and whatnot, and then faster boot up times, which is really nice. So all that information you see if you're watching older videos on this camera about it having a pretty slow startup time and whatnot, you don't have to worry about that as much anymore. It's actually pretty fast, especially if you like shut down the camera, swap battery, and turn it back on. Everything turns off and turns back on pretty fast. And then the black shading actually commences very fast now. I believe it's like 30 seconds or less. I could be wrong on that. Don't take it for granted. I did it a few weeks ago, but I wasn't timing it. But the camera does just operate a lot faster now. But that's all I have for you guys today. If you have any comments, questions, anything you want to just know or continue to see on the Komodo, or just some Komodo versus Pixis action, whatever, on the channel, let me know. Like, I'd love to try and figure something out, do some comparisons, show you guys. But let's have a discussion below in the comments. And thank you guys for watching this video. Please consider subscribing. Catch you in the next one. Peace.